Welcome to Evolve GT TV. Today we're going to go over the basics of safety inspection, the stuff that you can do at home, take kind of that intimidation factor out of going to the track and getting your tech inspection done. This will help you understand what you need to look for and what the guy inspecting your bike is looking for. Alright, first thing that's going to happen when you roll up in line, you want to come up to your place in line, cut the motor off. This is going to allow for us to manipulate all your controls without anything bad happening, and you're not going to kill the person behind you with all your exhaust fumes. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to get in front of the bike. We're going to grab the controls, your clip-ons, and we're going to pull down on the bike. This is going to allow us to see that your clip-ons are tight, they're not going to move around on you, and your brakes actually work. Meanwhile, we can also inspect the forks to see if there's any fluid or any sweating that's going on that might be an issue when you're going down the track. Alright, we're also going to be looking at tire wear, and we're going to be looking at your brake pads. We look inside here, see the rotor, and where the rotor touches the brake pads to make sure you have some meat. That way you have some braking power for your day at the track. With tire wear, we're looking to make sure that you actually have meat on your tire as well. We're going to be putting these bikes over on the side of the tire, and we want to make sure you have some rubber there to keep you on the track. This is the only thing that's between you and the track, so it's very, very important. Travel around the bike, we're going to make sure that your bodywork is tight, nothing's loose, you got all your bolts in place, nothing seems to be loose or out of ordinary. We're going to pull on the brake lever. This is important. We want to make sure that your lever's not coming all the way down to your handlebars. If it's coming all the way down to your handlebars, as you go through the track day, the fluid's going to heat up, your hoses are going to heat up, and there's going to be more expansion, which will mean that you're going to touch the bar and not actually get any braking power. So this is good. You've got brakes. The other thing is we're going to spin your throttle and release it. We want to make sure that it doesn't hang up, it's not slow, you want it to be responsive. Last thing you want is to pull on the throttle, want brakes, but the throttle's stuck full throttle, because then you're going crazy. As we run around, we got some frame sliders. We want to make sure those are tight, they're not jiggling around, they don't spin or do anything like that. Framework, bodywork's still tight. Gas tank's on. There's no visible oil leaks or anything like that. Everything's very clean. The cleaner you keep your bike, the faster you go through inspection. If we have to figure out what is new and what is old, that might take a little bit. We've got your rear sets. This is where your feet sit. We want to make sure that's not coming off. We want to make sure your brakes work. So we tap on the rear brake and make sure the caliper closes. You got your exhaust. You want to make sure that that's on tight on the bike. It's not going to come off and hit the guy beside you while you're riding down the track. Bodywork, once again, is still tight. Now we're to the back tire. You want to make sure that's got good meat. This is important because this is what's going to be propelling you down the track. You definitely want to make sure that's stuck to the ground. So we've got pretty good wear. We got wear indicators here. This is a good tire to get you down the track for at least the weekend. Side of the bike, the drive side with the chain. So we're going to come over here. One of the important things, checking to make sure you have chain slack. You want that to be able to move. The suspension is going to be going up and down. If the chain is already tight, it's going to bind and it's not going to allow the machine to work the way it needs to get you around the track safely. Rear sets, tight. Shift mechanism's good. The actual shift rod is not loose. It doesn't spin. That's good. And the kickstand, it locks in place so you don't have to worry about it coming down. If you are worried about that, we can get safety wire so you can actually tie it up and make sure that it's not going to move for the day. A lot of racers take them completely off. We have, my chain drive is open, so this is a track dedicated bike. On the street you would have a cover here, but this allows me to get in there and clean all that stuff off. Notice the chain and everything is clean. This is so I can see if there's any oil or anything like that dripping anywhere. It's very important. You don't want to be dropping any fluids on the track. All my covers are tight, bodywork's tight, slider's not moving. Now I'm back to the front of the bike and got some actuation with the clutch. It's nice and smooth, it's not bound up, ready to rock and roll. So now we're to the front of the bike again. On the other side, one of the things that we're just going to double check, we're going to turn the handlebars all the way left, right, make sure that there's no cables in the way, there's nothing binding, you have free movement left to right, that way you can turn and not be hindered by anything. One of the other things that we check when we pull forward on the bike is making sure that the head bearings are tight, that way there's no extra movement, everything is solid, one piece. Alright. Now that we have the belly pan off, there's a couple things that you can do at home before you ever get to the track. A lot of people change their own oil, or they send their bike out to a dealership to get their oil changed. One of the things you want to make sure your oil filter is on tight. And there's nothing leaking under here. You also want to make sure that your drain plug is in. Now, something that I do, put safety wire on the oil filter to make sure it's not going to spin out. I don't have to worry about dropping any oil on the track unless the motor blows, so we're good to go there. One of the other things that you want to do, a little bit different for the track versus the street, you have wheel weights to help balance your rim and tire. You want to make sure that they're taped at the track. That way, if the weight comes off, it doesn't fly and hit somebody in their chest, their helmet, whatever. So anybody that brings a stock bike to the track obviously has their mirrors, headlights, taillights, and all that we ask is that you take something like painter's tape, put it over anything that can shatter and break. If something happens to the bike goes down, the mirror breaks, the headlight busts, we want to make sure that there's tape there to keep all the shards together and a part of the bike rather than all over the track so it doesn't go in anybody else's tires or anything like that. So now we come to the lights. We've got them taped off, but we want to make sure that the tape doesn't bake to your lens. So what we want to do is we want to remove the light bulb, or we want to unplug the electric to it, and this will allow that to stay off. This stays unheated, and then you don't have to worry about glue on your lens when you go to peel this off when you go back on the street. The other thing that it's good for is for the tail lights, the brake lights. Anytime you see brake lights or any kind of activity on the track that's not normal, because most bikes don't have lights on the racetrack, it's going to draw your attention. So if you tape everything off and unplug your bulbs or wires, then you don't have to worry about added distractions at the track. Alright, this is some of the equipment that you're going to have at the track. Safety equipment is very important because you don't want to be leaving any skin at the racetrack. Here's a regular street jacket, it's a leather jacket, but if you're going to wear street stuff at the track, you want to make sure that it has a zipper that goes all the way around and zips into your leather pants. And that way a two-piece suit is acceptable, but you just want to make sure that it's not going to come apart. You can't have a leather top and a leather bottom because if you happen to slide across the track, more often than not, the jacket's going to creep up and then it exposes your whole midriff to the track. A one-piece suit is recommended at the track. Then you don't have to worry about anything coming apart on you. Most of the entry-level suits have body armor in them, and they also have speed humps, so that way you have a little bit of cushion. You have your removable knee pucks. These are replaceable. This suit should last a little while unless you're planning on riding on the asphalt instead of your motorcycle. Boots, very important for the track. These guys have sliders, they have inner protection armor to prevent you from rolling around on your ankles. They stay together, they're meant to ride in. They're a little bit different than your typical contractor boots. They're leather, but they're not going to hold up in an accident. They're going to blow apart. Gloves, very important. This right here is a set of street gloves. When you got these guys on, they feel really good. They look cool. They're super thin so you can actually feel the bike. They don't go over your wrist. This glove as soon as it touches the ground, is gonna blow apart. There's no protection here. You basically could drive your car with this glove, and that's about all it's good for. A glove that you use at the track is Gauntlet style glove. It goes over the top of your suit. You have all kinds of protection. Now, based upon the level of glove that you get, you'll have more or less protection. This glove is got sliders for your fingers. It's got pads to protect your bones. It cinches up pretty good. You've got pads and sliders for when you stick your hand out to brace yourself against concrete. It's leather, good glove. Your helmet, very important piece of safety gear. It's protecting the most important part of your body, your head. You want to make sure that if you've had an accident in your helmet, that you replace it. There's no need to second guess whether or not it's going to work. You're going over 100 miles an hour at the racetrack. You don't want to be worried about whether or not your helmet's going to work. When you come to the track, you want to make sure that you have a full face helmet. You don't want any half face helmets. You don't want anything that's going to open up, expose your chin or anything like that to the asphalt should you have an accident. And it should fit properly. It shouldn't be loose. If you can wiggle it around on your head, it doesn't fit your head right. You have a good chance of it just popping off. Now that you've had all the basic safety equipment covered, there are some recommendations. This right here is a chest protector. It goes under your suit and just gives you some added protection for your ribs and stuff like that. You also have a back protector, protecting your spine and tailbone, giving it a little bit more protection than just the suit and the speed hump. You also have air vests available to you. The only thing with the air vest, you want to make sure that you have a new cartridge and you want to make sure that your lock is open. That way it works should you become disconnected from the motorcycle. Also, some things that people never think about, mouthpiece. I have a mouthpiece, I wear it every time I go out on the track. I also make sure this mouthpiece has little holes in the front, so that way I don't have to open my mouth to breathe. I can actually breathe through the mouthpiece. Earbuds, very important. Not for music, but for noise deadening. You want to make sure that you don't have the whistle of the wind constant in your ears. You want to make sure that the loud decibels of exhaust and motor and stuff like that is all muted. You're going to be on your bike all day. Last thing you need to do is get off and have a headache. So save your ears. All right, we're going to talk about tire wear. The old adage, they're black, round, and rubber, yeah, that doesn't work. Here is a race street tire. It's a DOT. It has sipes for removing water, and it also has wear indicators. On the full-on race tire, it's completely slick except for where the wear indicators are. This will allow you to see a little bit better what we're trying to get across. When you come to the track, you want the biggest sipes possible, the biggest wear indicator possible. You want to make sure that you have meat on your tire. So right here we have a wear indicator strip. That's the little line in the middle of the sipe. It goes all the way across. You have one here, 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 and here. This is basically as you roll on the tire, as you wear it, as you go around the track, you're basically taking rubber and leaving it on the track. Once you reach that wear indicator or pretty close, you're getting into a very questionable circumstance with the tire. This is not the tire to come to the track on. This is already worn. The indicators are gone. There's nothing here. Now, can you ride on this? Sure, it's black, round, and it's rubber, right? No. When you start pushing this around the track, you're going to slide all over the place. Is it really worth having, an accident and paying $5,000, wondering if maybe you should have put a new set of tires on? Do yourself a favor. When in doubt, just go ahead and change them.